Ready? Okay. So just kind of going to go over everything little by little, just the major stuff. Okay, I think the roof's probably about 10 years old. It's architectural shingle. It's a good shingle. There's no sign of leaking now, and I think they went above average with the flashing on the parapet wall, which is really important. I think there was a leak there before, and if I were you, as I'm in here, I would always pay attention to the master bedroom and this hallway bedroom at the ceilings against that wall to make sure that you catch anything early if it should happen to re-emerge. They went and they re-insulated the attic, okay, which is kind of cool because a lot of the older buildings, when you get into them, the insulation is like 2 inches high and it's like horrible. Here they got about R30. They blew in insulation. It's the white-friendly stuff. It doesn't itch when you touch it and everything. But it's nice and even. You'll see a couple of pictures in the attic of it. It looks good. I did not have access to ductwork. The ductwork runs drop down below the attic in a box out. So I didn't have visual access, but I did check them, and they're all distributing air just fine. As far as the wind mitigation goes, here are the benefits you could have if you can locate a permit for the roof. The year the roof was put in was definitely after 2002, based on what I see. The decking that was used is a 3/4 inch wood plank deck, and they used 8 penny nails at a minimum of 2 nails per plank. So there's actually 2 benefits you would get for wind mitt: the shingles and the wood plank decking. The roof to wall connectors, which usually yields the biggest savings, we don't have those. So just keep that in mind as you talk to your insurance and see where you fall. And if you need my help, we'll have it done. Okay. The building itself is constructed of red brick wood frame slab foundation, and it looks very well maintained, especially given the age, built in 1970. Inside your unit, I was actually pleasantly surprised. This is very well maintained, updated areas in both bathrooms and the kitchen. A lot of people, when you get into a house and you look at a house, you look at something that might look well constructed with a nice roof and all that, and then you get inside and you got to remodel a kitchen and a bathroom, or both, or all 3. It's a lot of money. Here, you've got all of this has already been done. That's a big plus. Another big plus is they re-plumbed the house. So they probably did all the units, but I focused on this unit because this is our subject for the day. And you have polyethylene pipes, which are your supply material, and I see them in the bathrooms and in the kitchen and in the attic. So I got no concerns with that. Like I said about the lawsuit, I'll put that information in your report so you have it. But I wouldn't expect to have to worry about the fittings in the short term. They look fine. Nice thing about when they have a consumer recovery fund set up is usually people don't realize this, but if you do have a problem, and it should be related to that, you will have your pipes replaced and they won't come out of your pocket. Okay? The waste pipes are still cast iron. They're like a little bit of copper and a little bit of cast iron. I don't know what the building's plans are for that, but chances are that will not fall under your responsibility. I just will inform you that that's the materials we saw. Right? Now this is very unique. The water heater is something you usually find in a unit. Usually it's in a closet or in an attic or someplace. Here, this is a community water heater system. So all your hot water is coming from somewhere else. And it's probably from a central location, and every one of these units has access to it as far as receiving water. I've got hot water coming in at about 100 degrees or more, so that's normal. So for you, the good news is there's no maintenance, there's no replacement, there's no rusting out water heater that floods your unit, which is huge, you know, because I've seen a lot of water damage from leaking water heaters. Sometimes temperature and pressure release valves fail for a water tank. It's nice to not have that headache here. You're on a 2nd story. All the damage that could happen downstairs from something like that would probably fall under partially your responsibility. That goes away with this layout that they have here. Another unique thing that's pretty cool is that it's another community system for cooling. I believe it's called a central water chilled or water cooler or chiller system. We don't see a lot of them, but we see them in a lot of older communities and a few newer ones, but not too often. Like Celebration has a couple of them. But basically what happens is ice cold water gets pumped through a plumbing line. It feeds all the units in the building, including yours, and that goes through the coils in your air handler unit. And it's that water that cools those coils. Once the air gets forced through them, that's what's producing the cool air. The nice thing about this is your only maintenance is going to be an air handler unit. Clean your own coils, obviously, to make sure that once a year you have that done. To check the coils, make sure they're not corroding or anything like that. The advantage is, let's say worst case scenario, you end up having to replace a unit. you're laying out about $1,800 or $1,600 or whatever it is for an air handler, you're not having to replace a condenser. You're not having to deal with the $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 repair. So that's a very unique thing. It's not something you see all the time. So for a first-time home buyer, you're getting into a situation where this is ideal. Your maintenance has been cut back quite a bit. So it's a great learning curve start for you, you know? And then by the time I don't know how long you're gonna stay here, but by the time you get into a house, the nice thing about that is the way technology is moving now, things have been changing every 2 to 3 years rapidly. You know, people are now using tankless water heaters, they're using all kinds of stuff, SEER ratings, so energy efficiency has come really high. So by the time you are looking at that, things will be different than they are now. So you're actually in a situation where you can do it, take it slow, and then when you move on to your next one, you can be very well informed by that time with everything you want in a house, and then you jump on that. For now, this is perfect. Everything that I said is based on what was visible and accessible to me. I don't have any real major concerns. And the final piece of the puzzle is really the electrical. It's square D equipment. No insurance company I know of has a problem with that type of equipment. The wiring that was visible and accessible to me in the panel and the sample receptacles where I took some covers off is copper. So we don't seem to have any problem with material or brand of electrical panel. So when you summarize this, you've got a roof that's about 50% through its life, which is still relatively newer. You've got a new set of plumbing for supply. You've got little or no maintenance on air conditioning. And by the way, that air handling unit I think is fairly recent. I don't have a year on it yet. I have to look it up. It looks fairly recent. All these appliances are fairly recent. They're all working condition. So you're off and running pretty well. There wasn't anything to run from here or be concerned about whatsoever.
So we had no reverse polarity or anything? Or...
No, in fact, I'm glad you mentioned that. They have ground fault protection here in the kitchen and at both bathrooms. In the 70s, that wasn't required, so you know that whoever was here installed that to upgrade those areas. So that's one less thing you have to worry about.
So what are our punch list items?
That's a good question. I only have a few of them, not a lot.
I was going to say, do you actually have none?
No, I actually don't have none. You know there would never be something with none. The things I took note of are like loose railing at the staircase because you have to be careful with that, so it's just a safety thing. Closet doors tight at the outside. One of the windows at the master bedroom doesn't work on the right side and the glass pane is loose. But these are things that you would expect. And they're not big deal things, you know what I mean? Smoke detector's not working. And those are examples. I have a slow tub drain in the hall bathroom. And I think that's pretty much long and short of it.
Thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.